Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Raihan, and now you're listening to Codevcast.
It's time to tech talk fish.
So today we have another guest. His name is Azizi Yazit, and he's a software engineer from Malaysia. I met him. I not actually met him, but I know him when I attending the Angular Malaysia 2019. So I was on his stage, and then I'm kind of like interested with his talk about design system. So we're gonna talk about design system right now. First of all, I want to say thank you so much, Aditi, for spare your time for this.
You're welcome. Mm.
Okay, so maybe you can introduce about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thanks for having me for this podcast. And actually, this is my first experience with the podcast because previously most of my experience in delivering topic on the UI is mostly on the talk.
Mhm.
So please be patient with my uh, inexperience with these things. So yeah, I am Azizi Yazit. You are a developer from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Currently, I work as a GUI architect, where my main role is providing the design system and component library to be used by the numbers of UI teams that we have in our organizations. So that in terms of the design system, so basically, my experience with the design system is about 2 years and a half, where before I start working with design system, my main role is providing the UI framework, just a technical aspect of the UI framework, not the design. So my collaboration with the designer is very less. So I start to know about the design system when I joined one of the Australia company. Uh, in the company, they have a very experienced designer, and not only experience in the design, but the designer have the experience working with the very good design system team. So when I met him, especially on numbers of our meeting discussions, so that I know that he has a solid experience with the design system. He know about the structure, and he share to me about what he has go through with the design system team in his previous company. And so that is where I gain the knowledge about the design system, especially on the Storybook JS. The Storybook JS is where the tool to publish your design system into the Living Style Guide. And also, I know about the atomic design, as the atomic design is the methodology to be used to divide your component into a building block so that you can compose the component to become a more complex component. So yeah, that's my introduction.
Okay, that's so great. So interesting. So, I know you when on your stage when attending the Angular Malaysia. I was kind of like, like having Eureka moment in the first time. I know something new about the design system. You bring the topic about design system, right?
uh, Actually, no, it's about the component. It's about one of the component pattern called compound component.
Oh yeah,
uh,
okay. But it's related to
it is related, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I would like to talk about the relation between the compound component and also on the design
Sure,
system.
sure.
Yep. So when I say about a relation between the compound component and design system is when we want to provide the component that can be used by numbers of designer, because one of the client of the UI developer is the designer. So the designer is provide you the design, so you need to follow the design and provide them the pixel perfect of the design, right? So the problem with multiple designer working with the ones develop one team of developer is this designer might have their own kind of a design perspective, kind of the way that they provide the different digitized product. So when come to your to the UI developer teams, then it's become hard because the UI will be bespoke UI, which is that they have a lot of conditional that if design is based on the design one, then you need to provide this. If design is based on the design two, you need to provide the second design, right? So the compound component provide the ability for you just the UI developer to provide you the container. So inside the container, we can flexibly put anything. So the container will manage the communication between the sub component inside there, and the designer can come up with their own sub component. So this is where the compound component really shine in the design system. So that we provide one component, so the designer will provide the design for the multiple sub components, and we can transform this to be a component library that can cater multiple design by multiple designers.
So it's kind of like the components about part of related to design system.
Mhm.
So what exactly the design system itself?
Yeah, if we surfing on the internet, then I believe that we will have we will be see a lot of definition about the design system. But
Mhm.
my favorite one is coming from the design system handbook, where this is the free PDF book. Later, I can share the link for this free ebook. So the way that the this handbooks is provided is by compose a lot of article from the design system expert, and one of them is Marco Suarez. I think when he write the article inside the book, he worked as the design system lead in the Envision. So the Marco Suarez give the very interesting definition about the design system. He said that the design system is a collection of the reusable component library with the clear guide about the standard of the components and assemble to be used to build the numbers of applications. So that what interesting about this definition is the three key point that I found in the definition. The first one is reusable component. The second one is the standards or the guides, and the third one is numbers of applications, right? So this indirectly give the very clear idea about what is the design system, because the design system is just a collection of reusable component, but how this reusable component being shared to the developer to use or to integrate this component is by using the guide, and the guide needs to be a very good guide. So what makes the design system so popular is because they have the numbers of tool to publish the design system into the living style guide. One of the example tool is called Storybook.js. And the second key is uh, he said about the guide. So we cover about the guide, and the last point that he mentioned is about assembly. So what made this interesting is because before we have the design system, the way that the designer work with the design is pretty much is provide the world page to the developer, right? I think everyone who has the experience in the early day of the backbone JS, I think is quite an old experience
Mhm.
providing the UI. is designer give you the design as a piece, and usually is either as images, and you need to convert them into the Photoshop and inspect the color, inspect the sizing and everything, or they give you the PDF where I think 70% of the content of the PDF is just a commercial point of view about the design, and only 30% about the spec, like the sizing, like the colors or whatever that related to the components, right? So this when the Marco Suarez used the assemble as the way of providing the UI, the 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 inputs that been given from the designer is something that is divided into the building block, the also known as they call it as a pattern library. So the pattern library will be used repeatedly in their design, so that before they provide you the page, or they themselves use the component into the page, they will create a pattern library, like the buttons, text field, accordions, and they start to use in the page. So by practice this kind of the way, then you will have the unified design and similar look and feel across the products. Yep.
Okay, so interesting. So, is there any differences between design system and system design itself?
Okay, this is a very good question. In fact, uh, uh, when I've been introduced about the design system, I always go uh, for the system design, and I will be uh, going to various of the article, talk about the back end, talk about the architecture of the back end system, right? So what I can say is that as a UI developer, I don't really know about the back end, and the system design and design system is completely two different things.
Hmm, I see. So, before we talk further about design system, I forgot to ask, uh, how are you? I actually, by the way.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, we do have quite an interesting in term of the COVID case right now. Previously, we managed to cater the COVID quite well, and then because of some I think politic in the Sabah, then the case raised, and then right now we be able to make things better. So I think I have joined a new company. Before that, I joined. I work at the RHB Bank, and then I joined new company. And up until now, I still didn't see my colleges. Didn't go to the office from the day one of my new join.
Okay. So yeah, like in every country has really struggle with this.
Mhm.
Okay, back to our topic. How important is design system for a developer like us?
Yeah, the design system is very shine in term of the design skill, because that I think the most problem with the design is that when we have a, a team of the designer, and they provide you the
Mm,
design, and then when we move to or we change our designer, then they will provide the new design, because the documentation about the previous design or the guide about the previous design is usually is not provided, right? Because that
mm,
is the way that the designer worked previously, and then it's become hard for the design to scale, because every time the designer is replaced by the new designer, then they will provide the new design. So when you have the design system already by the first designer, so you have the foundation about all the design, because as I said previously, the design system is the collection of the reusable component with the guide standards, and we assemble the components, right? So when we talk about the assemble, is that usually the designer will use the tools like Sketch or Figma, where they can using these components to as a pattern library to be used in various of the design. So when the new when we replace the design, the designer, then the designer have the foundation and they can quickly uh, use the foundation and start to provide the new design. So this is very important for you to have the scale design. And the second one is design system give the solution to bring in the gap between the developer and designer, because in my experience we always have the poor the collaboration between the designer and the developer. The designer always cares the or feel angry with the developer because they didn't provide the paper piece of effect, and developer also have a bad feeling about being given the design that is very hard to be transformed into the actual code. So the collaboration is really like I like this example like Batman and Superman, right?
Yeah,
Because the objective of the mission of the Batman and Superman is to save the world with the different kind of the way, right? So
yeah,
because of the Superman has the superpower, then the way he save the world with the way the unnatural power, while the Batman is just a human, but
with technology.
he be able to save the world with his own skill as a human, right? So
Right.
the design system is put the objective or the missions to these both different discipline of engineer, the product engineer or designer, and the code engineer and component engineer, uh, to to create a digital product. So when they have the design system, they will collaborate, and uh, in the process flow called the Steiger driven development or component driven development. So if you don't mind, I would like to explain about the component driven development.
All right,
All right.
sure.
Yeah. So the component driven development start by the designer provide the design to the developer, and the developer will perform the design audit, where he will audit the design and he will audit he will audit the developer will audit the design and also the actual design system. And then he from that he will either create the new component or create the new variant of the component and publish into the style guide, which is the one of the example of the style guide tool is the storybook. And then the developer of the product or developer of the application will use the style guide, inspect the code, check out about how the component been implemented, and also play around with the component inside this living style guide, and integrates the component with their products or the applications.
Hmm. Okay, so let's say I have created the component, the reusable component,
Mm-hmm.
and then what else that I must to prepare for crafting the design system?
Yeah, as we explained about the style guide driven or the component driven, so you need first to audit the design
Mm.
and compare the design with your reusable component. So, is it that you need to create the new components, or do you need to create the new variant of the component? For example, when you have the buttons, the button itself is the component, but the button have uh, the variant of the behavior, right? Like success button, button with the loading, whereas button with the tooltips. This is a kind of the variant. So when we have completes this assignment, then we publish our component into the storybook, and this will be shared to the products engineer or the application engineers.
Hmm. Okay, okay. So right now you are the architect, the software, right?
Yeah, architect for the GUI.
The UI. Mhm. So what exactly the responsible for it?
Yeah, responsible for the architect in my current organization is leading the UI team to
Hmm.
provide the component library, and then to also provide the design system for the UI teams in various team in our organizations to use. So that is the main role of the architect, and also architect also become a central point where people come and get the answer about any question that they have about the GUI. For example, about the patterns, methodology, and a
Hmm.
push to be used in their own teams.
Hmm. So basically, you are the man behind the design system at your office.
Yeah, yeah. I can say that. I can say that. Yeah. But yeah. When we talk about the lead of the design system, uh, we have the many kind of the lead. Some of the design system lead is poorly on people who very good at the design, very good about the products, user experience, etc., etc. And some other kind of the lead is very technical, um, only know about the code pattern methodology and so on. So one of the lead on the design system is the one who can balance between these two divisions. So currently, I hope I on the middle. I also work hard to be that kind of design system lead, so that I will be able to drive my team, the designer and also the developer to put their maximum capability for their works.
Hmm. So what is the most challenging role?
Yeah, in various of my experience, I think one of the challenging that I see is that when you have the people in your organization who not yet ready for this kind of things, because most of the UI developer, for example, is they really think about application in general, right? It doesn't have the kind of the application is subset of various of the components. So I think when I work in one of the organization, my challenging is to help the developer from the app developer to be the component library developer, because especially when they have using the Redux for everything. If you are React developer, you have the type of developer who use Redux for every state. But when you creating or developing the component library, uh, there's no way that we gonna use global store like Redux or MobiX or NGRX, etc., etc. But we need to fully utilize the states management of the framework itself. Like for example, in the React, we need to know about managing the state by using the context API,
Hmm.
or by using the render prop, or by using the higher order component. So the challenge that I have is that a lot of people is usually they not have the uh, knowledge in fully utilizing the framework.
Step.
Yeah.
No problem.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the challenge in the design system also is when you work in the startup, because is kind of the joke, right? When when the manager asks you to create a components, then you given like a week just for components, right? Because they're not
Mm-hmm.
ready for this kind of effort, right?
Yeah.
So they need to usually on the startup they need to rapidly creating the MVP, the minimum viable product.
Yes.
So it's very hard for you to introduce the design system, where the design system will be pre-execute before you launch the, or before you start the development works for the MVP. So the challenge is the readiness of the management of the startup company.
Yeah. 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 I see. I agree with that
Hmm.
because like such a small startup, they want to catch their target as fast as they want.
Exactly, exactly.
So, I have read your actually in LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the atomic design.
Mm-hmm.
So, what exactly the atomic design
Uh,
is
y-
related to design system?
yeah, actually, it's related to design system. So a bit on the history of the design system is, I don't remember exactly the date is, but I think in 1968, the NATO is the one who first introduced the design system.
Mm,
And then people start to think, provide the UI into the modular, and also into the scalable of the component. So, but what is missing previously is what is the method, or what is the methodology to actually provide those modular
mm,
things, right? And then I'm also not sure about the date, but I think on 2010 something, uh, Brad Frost is the one who founded the Ultimate Design, come up with this methodology where we can have an idea of developing the UI, like we creating the brick of the Lego, so that when we want to creating
crafting.
yeah, provide the complex UI,
Yeah,
think like a Lego, right? It's like assemble or compose this brick of Lego to become a more complex things, and that is the atomic design. So the ultimate design provide you how you want to uh, make the structure of your components. So the atomic design have the atom, molecules, organism, template, and paste. So the five division of the component. So when we have the design from the designer, so we start to categorize the item in the design, either to be atom or molecules or organism, for example. So uh, I give one example, right? So you have been given the login page by the designer. So you have
mm,
the login button, you have the two text field, username and the password, and you also have the banner, right? So
mm.
just for small exercise, right? The text field will become an atom, correct? Because
Yes,
the text field is a building block that will be used repeatedly in a lot of the page. The
in a lot
button
of
will
the
be the
picture.
atom, but combination between this text field and the button will be will be known as the
Molecule.
molecules. So this is
Mm.
how we use the atomic design to categorize or to make the clear structure about our components.
Oh, I see. So it's like in a wireframing.
Mm, mhm. And then this process is known as the process that we covered previously, the UI or the design audit.
Yeah, and I know, like the atomic design, it's really it's really good if we learn about it.
Mhm. Yeah, of course that not only the design giving you the idea how you want to structure your components, and this is also indirectly uh, give you a chance to provide the modular components, right? When we have
Mhm.
the divide the component to the small building block, then by provide the complex component is by compose or assemble this building block. Your design or your component must be modular.
Mhm. So, is there any other methodology about design system?
Yeah, okay. When we think about the design system, design system always become the central or truth, single source of truth for the design and component library that will be used to develop the various of products, right? But when you are the organizations that huge like the Google, where the Google have a lot of product like Firebase, Gmail, they have also Google Cloud, what else? A lot of the product, but they managed to create one design system called Material UI, Material Design, that been used by various of the product, and they have, even though they use the same design system, they have the kind of the similar in term of the experience and look and feel. Okay,
Mhm.
so this pattern of the approach used by the Google is known as a provider consumer design system, where you provide the design system as the provider, and another design system can uh, use the provider design system and create their own design system, and this is known as the consumer design system. So we have the material design system as the provider, and we have the Firebase design system as the consumer of the material design system. We have the Google Cloud as the Google Cloud design system as the consumer design system of the material design, and and various of the product or various of the design system become the consumer of the material design system. This is really important because a lot of people say the issue with the design system is it limits the creativity of the designer, correct? So because when I have the two designer, right, when they have the two different perspective, look about how the product experience, user experience, whereas user concept, product concept, when they have the design system that cover about the foundation, is kind of limit their creativity to provide their own user experience, right? This is something that uh, people who work in design system aware. That's why when you have this kind of methodology or approach by providing just the provider design system, uh, and then you can create your own design system as a consumer of that provider design system. So you can have an area where you can have the unique about your own design in the consumer design system.
So, let's say I want to learn the design system. So, where the first, or what the first that I should learn?
I think the first thing that I recommend for the developer or designer who want to start with the design system is
Mhm.
start by for the developer start to using a tool for the design system like the storybook, and for the designer they start to use the tool to provide the design system in term of the design like sketch and also figma. From that, from that point, they will start to know about uh, the use of the style guide driven, and later on uh, know about the component library and so on. And what is the reason why I ask is the best step for the design system is practical and
Mm.
then theory. And once you have the practical, then when you read a book about the design system, you read a book about the related to the design system, things will become something that uh, makes sense to you. So uh, you will see, oh, oh, this is why we need this design system. This is why things like this, stuff like that. Yep. So my advice is go for the practical first before the theory.
Okay, I see. So, like documentation of the CSS framework,
Mhm.
it's also we can say it as a design system, right?
Yeah. There is a debate about the Bootstrap as a design system or not, but I think people like Adam from the Google, the
Mm.
developer advocate, and uh, numbers of good people in the design system consider the Bootstrap as the design system, but it is not a complete design system. But when we talk about the complete design system, we can say like the material design by the Google,
Mm.
um, whereas IBM also have the design system.
Oh,
Invision also have the design system.
envision. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Uh, I'm not sure why, but it seems like the name of design system is completely gone from my head. But yeah, there is a difference between the Bootstrap uh, as a design system and also uh, Google Material Design System. The Google Material Design System is very complete design system. And also, yeah,
Yeah.
one of the famous or the popular design system is also known as the N design. And for the Angular,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Angular for the Angular N design is called NZ0.
And the zero, yes.
And this design system is being used by the Alibaba, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm. So, how many company that already use a design system in Malaysia?
Okay, this is very good questions, right? I know people from the Aziata boost, my former
Yeah.
organization RHP, and others company in Malaysia. They do have the design system, but they only use in private. So so basically for Malaysia, it's hard for me to give the numbers how many organizations use the design system, but I'm sure uh, new trend of the digital products like Boost, Touch and Go, and similar to them, they do have the design system, but might be used privately. And if the people from there is listening to the podcast, that I encourage them to share more about their design system to the public, so that similar like what we see in the Europe and the US, right? A lot of the company,
Mm.
uh, even though they are startup company, they start to publish the design system for the public to see, right?
Right.
And
SM.
yeah,
Mm.
how about the Indonesia? I think got a lot of powerful and awesome startup there, right? So
I think the Gojek has
uh
already the design system.
I see.
You can search like asphalt. It's the system design from Gojek.
I see.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then like Bukalapak. also has the design system,
I see.
but I'm not sure because it's the same. Like not much known about design system.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the people from the Europe and people from the US is the one who drive this design system, and I hope that in the Asia, especially Indonesia and Malaysia, we will have a world class design system to be
Right.
able to compete with this the rest of the design system.
Yeah, because if we can see, this is really important.
Exactly. Yep.
So next question. So do you like to? I mean, you don't code anymore.
No, no, no. This is very. It's not. Yeah. Actually, I am do code. In fact, in my current organization, I do 17% of codes and only 30% is the architect. This is because that the reason why I joined from my former organization to this organization is because I want to do the codes.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next hopes or achievement?
Yeah. I my mission is always to be the world class UI developer. So I never stop working hard to achieve that goal, and I hope that
Awesome.
someday that I will be known as the world class UI developer.
This is awesome. Yeah, I was kind of like having flashback. Uh, can talk with you
Mm-hmm,
because when uh, I saw you on the stage, the components that you broke,
mm-hmm.
it's really like it's really exciting to learn. And then I was like searching you on Facebook, and then we became friends.
Yeah. uh, yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you for that.
So, what is the next your event?
I was one of the speaker of the Angular conference in the Colombia.
Hmm.
So my net is I did submit couple of the proposal for couple of the conference, but I think when we have the pandemic, COVID pandemics, right? So
Hmm.
not only you need to compete with the people who in your range, right? But you also need right now all of the people will use this as opportunities to do
Yes,
a lot of
I agree.
talk, right? So you need to compete with the JDE, you need to compete with the a lot of advocate. So and that might be the reason why I still not having the talk this year.
Yeah, it was kind of like really awesome, man. Like you on NG Colombia.
Thanks. Yeah. For me is it was a very good experience for me because I think that is my second international talk, and
Mhm.
uh, because when you go for the international, the preparation to provide the presentations, the content, you need to put a lot of effort on that. That's why um, when you start or when you have a will to submit a proposal for the international, you need to scarify a lot of your time to really uh, really provide the good contents and the good flow for your talk. So yeah, for me, I don't really mind about international talk or local talk as long as my my objective is to deliver some things that can be used by the others, while in that way I also educating myself to be the one who educating myself in term of the soft skill and etc.
Yeah, exactly. I hope
Yep.
you can achieve your dream
Yeah.
and your dreams
Yeah.
come true.
Hope so. Yeah.
So maybe it's kind of last question.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what is your advice and message for UI designer or developer that want to start learning the design system?
Yeah, my advice is to get the at least one experienced designer or developer who has experience in full scale, full cycle of the design system by auditing, extracting, publishing, and integration. Right. So when you have that kind in your organizations, then you can use him or her, right, to drive you to practice on the design system. Because uh, if you go for the theory, right, you will go
Mhm.
nowhere. You need to practice first, and then the theory will make sense to you along the way you doing the design system. That's my advice. Hire the experienced people in design system.
Okay, thank you so much,
Right.
Ajit.
Right. No problem.
This is really a great talk.
Yeah.
Maybe we can talk another topic in the next episode.
Yeah, sure. I really glad that I have opportunities to talk to you, especially when this year I not success yet to get my proposal to be accepted in any of the conference. So this helped me to to polishing my soft skills.
Yes, it's also it can help any other developer.
Yeah, correct. The design system is the hot topic right now, and and knowing about the core idea about design system is very important for the developer and also the designer.
Okay. So thank you, thanks again, Azizi Yazit.
You're welcome. No problem.
So that's it for today. Thanks for listening. See you in the next episode. I'm Raihan. Have a good day. Hope you're doing well. Stay healthy and so. Bye bye. Peace.